Hi there, Malcolm here with my 63rd Booktube video, and today I'll be doing a book review on my book of the month, Elysium Fire by Alistair Reynolds. This is book 2 of the Prefect Dreyfus Emergencies, which in turn are a spin-off of the Revelation Space series. This is set 2 years after the events of book 1, Aurora Rising, which I have read and also reviewed. I'll leave a link to that below. And in this story, the Glitter Band is under 2 separate threats. After the events of Aurora Rising, public opinion of Planet Plee have dropped somewhat, and so far 8 habitats have joined a separatist movement from the Glitter Band and gone independent. Meanwhile, with increasing regularity, apparently random citizens suddenly have the implants in their heads overheat massively, causing instant and horrible death. A threat that is increasing at an exponential curve, with forecasts not giving it that long for the entire population of the Glitter Band to be wiped out. So Prefect Tom Dreyfus and his field agents Thalia Ung and the hyperpig Sparva Bankel must investigate the deaths and the figure behind the independence movement. What follows is another brilliantly written police procedural crime story. The fact that it's set in the future, in orbit around an alien planet, is neither here nor there. The characters are first rate, even the hyperpig, and the threats to the Glitter Band feel really real. With this being book 2, I found this a little strange in that the world building in book 1 isn't so much world building but world already built. You get thrust into the story, think Blade Runner, without too much explanation as to the technology and the environment we're in. We're given terminologies like quick matter, whip hound, hyperpig, without there being an awful lot of explanation as to just what these things are and how they fit into anything else. However, as the story goes on, you do learn what these things are, and by the end of the book, you have a pretty good knowledge of what they are. However, some effort has been made to do a bit more world building in book 2, where obviously these things are still here, but there's also been some attempt to make this a standalone book as well. I've read a few reviews where people have read this as their first book and have enjoyed it plenty, but I would recommend reading book 1 first. If you find it on the internet, Alistair Reynolds also did a short story called Open and Shut, which bridges a gap between books 1 and 2. It's not very long, and it's not that important, but there's a significant thing that happens at the end of book 1 which could have permanent consequences and is pretty much ignored in book 2. So go find Open and Shut, it's free to read, Google it, it's there. Like I say, it's not very long, won't take you long to read it, but it does fill in a gap. So yeah, I would have liked to have some of that world building in the previous book, because by now there wasn't much that the explanations gave that I hadn't already fathomed. There was a little, but not that much. It certainly explores quick matter a lot more, so if you weren't quite sure what that was from the first book, this one does go into greater depth. It's quite relevant to the plot in some aspects as well. So, obviously, we get to find out what that's all about. Very cool stuff. Almost as cool as the whip hounds. I wouldn't mind a whip hound or two myself. They're very nifty. They're sort of machine Swiss Army knives, which are weapons, means of restraint, and other tools that a police officer really needs. Oh, and a grenade as a last resort. As a police procedural in space, this was absolutely first rate. And although not necessarily tied into the plot, does have some very nice continuations from Aurora Rising. I'm not going to say what they are, but when it came up, I had a smile on my face. Not just because, oh, I know what that is, I've come across that before, but really helped make the 2 books into a series. And not just another episode with the same characters on a new wacky adventure, but the same place, the same people, continuing their existence. Despite being a science fiction story, this is a crime drama first and foremost, with some really clever, intelligent ideas, but it doesn't talk down to the reader. This was very, very readable, highly enjoyable, and booktastic. Really hoping there's going to be a third one, or failing that, a TV series. There you go, Elysium Fire by Alistair Reynolds. Have you read it? Are you interested in reading it? Did you read Aurora Rising? If you've read both, which did you prefer? Do you like how they're tied into the Revelation Space series, but also stand to the side of it? What is your favourite crime drama not set in a conventional setting? Please share your answers in the comment section down below. But as always, if you have nothing nice to say, then please keep it to yourself. Thank you. Until next time, see you later.